What made you get saved?
Man, yeah, bro. That's the testimony, right? Like that's the testimony. Um, I've always known God, bro. I've always been someone who's prayed. I've always had a strong connection with God. I didn't grow up in the church at all. We go to. I was baptized Catholic. I did get my first communion, but I mean, we only went on Easter. Ash Wednesday. I didn't know nothing about the Bible, bro. Like I didn't know the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. 6 months ago, you could ask me, "Hey, bro, what's the difference between the Old Testament and New Testament?" I'd have been like, "What is that?"
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know nothing about the Bible, bro, or anything like that. I looked everywhere else but the Bible, but Jesus, for my spirituality. And I got real deep into what people would call New Age, which is sort of, in a sense, making yourself a god, where you would believe you are the one that can save you, right? I was very deep into that. Because there's a power into that, at least a false power, I believe now. But there's a power into believing like, well, no, I can do whatever I feel like. I can manifest whatever I want, anything, right? And that's a very popular mindset nowadays. And I completely get where that's coming from, because that's where I was at. And doing a lot of heavy meditations. I mean, hours, bro. Like just meditating for 1-2 hours. Transcendental, having real moments. It was real. It wasn't just fake. Like I felt the spirits. I felt the power in those meditations, right? Getting into like magic and stuff, witchcraft, things like that, reading books, and didn't think anything was wrong with it. I didn't have any real reason to believe it, that there was anything wrong with it. Because like I said, I didn't come from a religious background or anything like that. I was finding answers on my own. And through that, I reached a place, I hit a fear wall where something happened to me health-wise, and it wasn't even nothing big, bro. But it was just like, it put me in a paralyzed state of fear, where I went into this sort of panic mode where I was like, nope, I'm not going to feel like this. I'm going to get out of this, and I'm never going to feel this again. So I dove deep into everything that I thought I knew, which was everything I just talked about: the meditations, the crystals, the chakras, the witchcraft, the magic, all things like that. And I've never been someone who was ever depressed, ever in my life, bro. I didn't even know what that really meant. Never. I've always had a great, like I said, my life is a reflection of God's love, because that's what I felt growing up. I never had those sad feelings or anything like that. When I started doing all these things, saying affirmations, I am powerful. I am a God. I am whatever. You know what I mean? Me. I'm saving myself. Meditating. Going hard, dude. I hit a place where I hit a very severe depression out of nowhere. Something I never felt before. And I was very conscious of it. I was very aware of it. And it scared me, because I understood exactly what it was, to the point where I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. I was like, what's the point? And I didn't know why I was feeling like this, bro. I was just like walking around, the colors like literally got duller. Everything was gray. I didn't know why I was feeling like this, man. I was doing everything I thought I was supposed to be doing. I sort of had moved past that place of fear at this point, because everything I was doing. But for whatever reason, I hit this crazy place of like hopelessness. Why does anything matter? And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And man, that was very hard for me. I was doing yoga, doing all these things, man, that I've come to believe is now not something that people should be partaking in. But in my lowest of lows, I mean, I'm hours away from the house. I feel like I don't want to be here no more. I'm about to get in the car and drive home, if that's what I'm going to do, And in my lowest of lows, I get in the car and I'm like, I'm just going to listen to the radio, man. At this point, like I said, I was going really hard in everything. So I wasn't listening to any radio, anything. I was listening to self-development, mantras, meditations. At every waking moment of my life, I was doing this. That's what I mean when I was going hard. I was going hard. I was like, I just want to feel normal again. I don't want to feel like this. Let me just listen to the radio. I turn on the radio, what's supposed to be sports radio. And what comes on isn't the sports radio. For me, it was God speaking to me. It was just a man on the other side, and he was preaching to me. And I was at the lowest point of my life, bro. And he said, don't be scared. God is with you. And then just,
oh, that's wild.
And I mean, I was like, get in the car, turn on, I just want to be normal. Bang. And it's like, says what it says, goes off.
Phase back out.
Man.
Wow.
It was a sign. And I was just like, just started crying, bro. That was just one step of many that I realized God was with me. And I didn't realize at that moment that I shouldn't be doing what I was doing, because I was still doing the stuff I was doing, but I knew that I was being watched. I knew that I was being covered. Somewhere along the line, man, I just felt the need to know who Jesus was, like who Jesus really was, not just like what they tell you. I didn't even want to look in the Bible, bro. I was like, I want to know who Jesus was without looking at the Bible. I just want to know, like, what's his actual story? Is he really God? Is he like, I want to know like who this person is. I don't know why, but I knew not to ignore it. I just woke up one day and was like, I just want to know who this person is and not what they tell me he is. I don't care what the answer is. I just want to know the truth. He could be the evil one for all I care. I don't care. I just want to know. And ultimately, I had to look at the Bible. It would be negligent. It would be dumb for me not to at least read it and just see what was in it. So that led me down to actually opening it up. And then when I open it up, I have to actually verify, like, why should I believe this? So now I have to study it. I have to see, why should I believe anything that's said in here? And through that process, I start to educate myself. I start to understand, why is this credible at all? You start coming through prophecy. You start seeing prophecies in the Bible, how they're being fulfilled. You start just piecing things together and it starts to become credible. And, there was a point where you have to ask Jesus to reveal himself to you. Like, if you are real, like people say, I don't want to feel like an idiot for just following something that's not real. You have to get on your knees, have an open heart, and be humble enough to ask, show yourself to me. If you are who you are, show yourself to me. And this is not in a challenge. This is like, I genuinely, if you love me like you say you love me, if this is real, reveal yourself to me. And to make a long story short, the way he revealed himself to me, I had a dream about me dying. And this was years before any of this. And the dream was the most real dream I'd ever had. It was one that actually scared me. You have nightmares, but this was the most real thing I ever experienced. And in the dream, they told me when I was going to die and where I was going to die. And it scared the crap out of me. And it was from somebody who had committed suicide that I knew growing up. And it scared the crap out of me. And so I knew not to go to this place, because I knew if I had gone to this certain specific place, I was going to die. At least that's what I believe. I believed it enough to not go to that place. And so, you know, there had been times where I sort of just, that was such a scary dream. I had pushed that dream out of my conscious. I didn't want to remember it. And there had been times where I almost had gone to that place without knowing, and I was saved from going to that place. Like I was covered, like I was going to go, but something would stop me every time until I was reminded that I had that dream. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was actually going to go there like 2 times. But, you know, for whatever reason, you told me not to. The second time I got sick. Third time, right? So all of a sudden I get sick right before I'm supposed to go up there. And my wife's like, yo, that's the same place that God told you not to go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that dream because I didn't want to remember. It was so scary. I had, so I remember it and I'm like, oh my gosh, scared the crap out of me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go there no more. I'm going to remember this dream. I'm not going to go to that place. I was supposed to go there for a job. And the place was I think it wasn't Yellowstone. It was Estes. It's Estes Park. So I come back and, you know, I told my boss everything because we were supposed to go up there for work. I was like, yo, man, you know, I know we're supposed to go up. I got sick, but I can't go to this place because, you know, I had this revelation, yada, yada. He was like, yeah, okay, no worries, blah, blah, blah. So then he comes back and he tells me, yo, or no, I hadn't told him what it was yet, but he comes back and he's like, I'm like, okay, I'm never going to go up there again. He comes back the next day after me realizing that, okay, I just got saved. I was sick. I didn't go up there. After I'm thinking the job is done. He's like, yo, we got to go back up to this place because I guess lightning had struck the building and burnt everything that we just did. The day after, I'm over here. I'm freaking out at this point. I'm like, what do you mean? Lightning hit it. After I'm like, oh man, I'm saved. I'm just going to remember this. I'm not going to go up there. Like, luckily, whatever, God saved me. I got sick to where I didn't have to go up there. And so I tell him, I freak out and I'm like, dude, I can't go up there. Like, you know, this dream, this lightning, like everything, like, I don't know what. I feel like God's telling me not to go up. Like I had to make a decision. Am I going to go up or am I not going to go up? So in the dream, essentially, so it told me where not to go and it told me when. It said 2 weeks after you go to Estes, you're going to die. So I was scared that I go to Estes 2 weeks, I'm going to die. Like it felt real. So I told him all this stuff and he was like, okay, cool. You know, we'll go up there. Well, you don't have to go. So I felt, okay, I did what God's called me to do. I'm not going to go up there. That's what God told me to do. I'm just going to stay away from that. So this necklace I have, right? This isn't the one, but I had one that my mom gave me when I graduated. And it was something that meant a lot to me. When I didn't really know God, it was like my source of faith. I had made an idol of it in a sense. It was just something that I felt like if I were to ever lose it, I would lose God's favor. For whatever reason, that's just what I felt. And only God would understand that relationship. No person would understand that connection I had with that necklace. I had almost lost it a couple times. And the way it had come back to me was almost like, yo, God's making sure I have this. He knew the connection I had with that necklace and how scared I was to lose it. I go swimming one day, and very near after this, and I come back from swimming and it's gone. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because like I said, I'm like, I'm going to lose God's favor, bro. Like, this is what it is. I start praying because at this point I'm starting to come more to Jesus. You know, this is after I had told Jesus to reveal himself to me. I'm starting to try to live that life. I start praying like, God, what does this mean? Because I couldn't find it. Every time I've lost it, it'd come right back to me on some miraculous stuff, weird stuff. Couldn't find it. I start praying. 5 seconds into my prayer, God tells me about my dream. He's like, your dream. I look up the day, right? The day that I lost this necklace was 2 weeks to the day that I was supposed to go to Estes, and I didn't. So the dream said, I'm going to die 2 weeks after I go to Estes. I don't go to Estes. The necklace gets lost 2 weeks after. So I'm like, oh oh my gosh, what does that mean? God told me you were supposed to